What is happening, people? Let's get into it. A bit of a recap yesterday that I have posted on Twitter as well. I took a loss and a break even on Euro. This was just forward testing stuff. A loss and a break even internally in here. So I got smoked on that. That is fine. I did miss a buy on AUDUSD, which I should have caught, but it's all good. In terms of what I'm looking for today, we are yet to come into the top point of this area that I want to come in. Ideally, I want to buy up to this wick. I believe everything up until this point is a smart money trap. So until we get there, I'm quite happy just to keep buying. In terms of where we can buy from on Euro, if we look at the 4 hour, we are in at that first area that will give us a reaction. Like I said, I kind of want this point taken if we come up this high. So I'm looking to have that point taken. We can now, that is some type of supply to demand, which did induce obviously there. We've got this area of retest that sits more or less below and above this point. Only thing I'm kind of concerned about is on the 5 minute, it actually induced low and then mitigated this area. So I'm going to have that as enough. I actually see that as enough given what it's done, given that entire area was the decisional. So I actually have that as plenty. So I don't need it to come up to that. So what I'm kind of looking for is I'm going to use the next 15-minute range. Using that range, this is my break here. We've obviously had this 2-leg down, which did more or less actually do the same type of inducement. So realistically, I don't normally like doing this, but I'm happy buying off of the Asian lows. You may actually find we buy literally internally off of that. What I kind of want to see, this is a little bit cleaner in terms of an inducement. This isn't as clean. It still is break and retest internally to mitigate a decisional and push out. So it still does hold that weight. And it did mitigate that entire area. So what I'm kind of looking for, I guess my 15-minute range right now is literally here to here. And I don't think it's in a point. It's already proven to be a smart money trap. So I'm okay to buy off of that or buy through this current range that we've got here. Now, if we kind of read internally, it is a straight range, which means it is crap. I need it to slow down. I need it to slow down a lot. And then I'm willing to buy off of, realistically, it's kind of close to that mitigation already. This mitigation here. And then I want to get that type of reaction. Okay. Only reason being is I kind of see this as enough of an inducement for break and retest. And then it did mitigate that decisional. Now this can be used as break and retest straight up. That is fine. I just don't think it will, personally. Yeah, I don't really see that as retest. I more see that as a whole new break. Can be viewed as retest. I more view it as an internal low. It's just we don't necessarily have any supply to demand points. So this will just be trading off a straight range, off of an extreme, which my rules don't favor, but I am open to it. So I'm open to buys off of that or sells or buys off of that. In terms of other areas to more or less buy, I don't really see anywhere. I want to come target this high. Until we target this high, I'm not interested. It is the decisional. As you guys can see, it did take liquidity. It did somewhat mitigate this area as well, which kind of makes it a bit annoying. And it did take really small internal retest. So it is a valid 15-minute point that we're now in the top off now. So I would say more likely we're actually going to take the Asia lows. Once we take the Asia lows, I'm okay to buy off of that. So I would say it's more or less that we're going to get that. What I'll more likely need is a smart money trap reaction of some sort, something like that, given that we haven't got any liquidity. I view these areas as enough. We've obviously got break, which created an internal point here, and then it created a structure cycle away. So I kind of see that as enough. This will give me a medium inducement into that area too, which is quite clean. So I'm open to basically that. Okay. Now GU, we've now taken this high, which is a really, really good medium inducement, which is more or less the decisional of that break. And if you jump on the 4 hour, it's kind of in this area of extreme now. Everything's pretty filled. This is kind of the last filled area. So a reaction off of this makes sense. we're just at the top of a range. So realistically, if we read internally what's kind of happened, we've got this area that's broken here. My 15-minute range still was that, so I don't really need to use that bigger range here. Break and test, push out, area of mitigation, push out. Realistically, it should come and take, should come and take this point. Once it's taken that point, I'm open to buy again. So something we can look at today is the retracement, smart money trap, sell to buy like that. I really like. We've got a lot of imbalance. I don't think this point necessarily holds enough to do much with. So I would kind of like to see that. And if we get that, I'll be very happy. So yeah, I do like that inducement into mitigation off of this. Given that entire area is the decisional. So I really do like this just being valid structure to kind of move away from. On the 5 minutes, it did kind of do the same thing as what EU did with the break and internal retest and push down. Did take trend line, it did build a smart money trap, but it didn't create 2 points. So I will need an external take given the liquidity we've taken, which means I'm open to that. And I'm happy to take either that or that here and kind of use those two. AUDUSD, I've got alerts fucking everywhere at the moment. I was just watching it during the day. Let me remove all of this. Alerts will annoy me. This is the buy that I missed yesterday. Very clean buy. Literally just 1 to 4 to that area we were targeting yesterday. But like I said, wasn't it? And that's fine. We then had the next break here. We can remove that because that explains the reasoning for what happened. Push out, inducement into mitigation, push into point, pull out, push. You've got this area of extreme that sits in here that's more or less mitigated. I imagine it's like a 5-minute point. There's a little bit of imbalance down there. That's more or less internal break and retest on the 5-minute. I don't mind sells to buys of that. We have basically mitigated this area now, which is the last low. Oh, that's bloody close. I'm going to have that as a mitigation. I imagine on the hourly it's a mitigation as well. So I kind of want to sell off that mitigation. It did build up liquidity above it and kind of induce that. We've induced the first decisional of this internal range. I'm not really concerned at all with that. I've kind of just got low, high, 2 points out of that. It's just reacted off a decisional and pushed. I don't have that as valid. I either need the inducement of this low or the inducement of the next low in order to buy. In terms of selling, like I said, I don't mind sells. Probably already played out, actually. Pretty close to playing out. very close to playing out. I kind of see this entire area as a smart money trap. You had break, which then created this area off of here, pull, mitigation, smart money trap confirmed. That was valid, like that. Basically targeting that. So it looks like that could already be the trade done. In terms of another entry, we've now had the 5-minute take. I'm happy to use inducement. We don't have much to work off of now. I think the entry's kind of already done its thing. So what I'll be looking for is a retracement, an inducement into a mitigation, a liquidity and structure cycle, and then trading away from that. But I would say this is already done, and I reckon this will just kind of flush and fall off. I don't like where we are in this, so I need to wait for this mitigation to catch that sell, which I don't think is going to happen because that entry has already happened. So I would say it's just going to sell down to this area, which is where I'm willing to take the next buy. Apart from that, nothing else we can really do. So EU and GU are more or less the focus for the session. DXY has done exactly what we wanted it to do. It's now taken that more or less break and retest kind of doobie of this internal range. It's now in a point. It's just going to give a retracement that I would say it's going to keep selling. I don't think it makes sense to kind of push up yet. Like I said, if we read the 4-hour here, that's more or less our 4-hour. We've still got heaps of area to fill. We're in the entire area here, but we've got this to fill. And if you have this as your smaller 4-hour range, yes, we're in the decisional that broke through this high. We've just tapped into it, so I'm expecting a reaction up to then sell. but it's quite yuck on the DXY at the moment. Very, very disgusting. So we've got, if we read what's happened, we actually came and took that fucking high perfectly yesterday and just sold. We then had pull up, pull down. So what I would be expecting is realistically a take of this high into the mitigation of this decisional area, because that's kind of what we had last time, and then falling off. I don't really see that as enough of an inducement. So coming for this high, buys to sells, which other pairs are sell to buys, which they're already playing out. So EUs is already done, which means the next place on EU I will be targeting to take of this decisional or the take of the extreme. Realistically, I think sells will be on. We will see. Cool. I will try and go live today on YouTube. We'll see what happens. But other than that, let's have a good session, and I'll chat to you guys later.